So get ready because it's already started. The copycats, the false flags, already targeting conservatives and thought leaders. It has begun in earnest. The death threats, the swatting events, foiled bomb attack in Utah last night, by the way. They're not stopping with Charlie Kirk. You knew this was going to be the case. Vice President JD Vance just sent a message to all of these crazy, violent leftists. We are on to you. Watch.
There is no unity with people who scream at children over their parents' politics. There is no unity with someone who lies about what Charlie Kirk said in order to excuse his murder. There is no unity with someone who harasses an innocent family the day after the father of that family lost a dear friend. There is no unity with the people who celebrate Charlie Kirk's assassination. And there is no unity with the people who fund these articles, who pay the salaries of these terrorist sympathizers, who argue that Charlie Kirk, a loving husband and father, deserved a shot to the neck because he spoke words with which they disagree. Did you know that the George Soros Open Society Foundation and the Ford Foundation, the groups who funded that disgusting article justifying Charlie's death, do you know they benefit from generous tax treatment? They are literally subsidized by you and me, the American taxpayer. And how do they reward us? By setting fire to the house built by the American family over 250 years. I am desperate for our country to be united in condemnation of the actions and the ideas that killed my friend. I want it so badly that I will tell you a difficult truth. We can only have it with people who acknowledge that political violence is unacceptable, and when we work to dismantle the institutions that promote violence and terrorism in our own country. There is.
So, can you, just to wrap your head around the insane individuals right now who are calling for more assassinations, I mean, do you not think there will be any consequences? Like, it's different than saying you didn't like Charlie Kirk and you were against him, but calling for additional assassinations against people across the United States, that is illegal. Incitement to violence, that is illegal. Like, that is not protected speech. Calling for the killing of Matt Walsh or other individuals, that is not protected. As Megyn Kelly just said, they got one of us, and now it opens the floodgates. Watch.
You said now they're killing commentators, but as you know, since you're in this business, ask anyone in this business, has anyone ever tried to do this to you? And you'll find a lot of people who will say yes. This has been going on a while, and no one wants to talk about it. It freaks your family out when you talk about it. But the truth is, this is not new, and I'm just so sad.
They got
truly,
one.
Truly sad.
They got one, Tucker, and that's why I say it's a before and after moment. It's a before and after because, you know, now...
No, it's true.
Now you have to grapple with copycats. Now you have to grapple with this as an option in the same way that Columbine crossed a line and created this new genre of violence. This is potentially where we're at now with political dialogue. It's so antithetical to, yes, goodness and Christianity and all of it, but also just to the First Amendment and being an American.
Yes, that's right. Which is based on Christianity, by the way. We have a First Amendment because we believe God gave us the right to decide and to say what we think. That's the only reason we have the Bill of Rights. You said now they're killing commentators, but as you know, since you're in this business.
So they are, that's exactly what they're going to do. And I can tell you, just sort of a personal story here from conservative friends who have received these types of death threats, swatting events. Some have been public, many have not. And it's deeply disturbing. As Tucker briefly kind of mentioned there, he's like, people don't want to talk about it because it can really upset their family. Yeah, people can really don't want to talk about it because it can upset their family. That's exactly right. So these people are sick. These people are sick, and now this opens the floodgates for them to put this plan in place. Alex Jones told Steve Bannon this morning that they're shutting down these, black colleges. They're pretending to use white supremacists because they're under threat. Really? False flag attacks, copycats coming. This is all part of a plan to say that these are, the greatest threat to the United States, as, by the way, Joe Biden told us, is white supremacy. And as Alejandro Mayorkas told us, the greatest threat to the United States of America is not illegal immigrants pouring across our border, which he facilitated. No. It's you and me. It's right-wing conservatives. That's the greatest threat to the United States of America, and this is part of their plan. Listen, Alex.
Courts, they talk about it publicly. They talk about it on X. They have teachers, lawyers, mainly teachers, doctors, everywhere celebrating Kirk's death and now saying, here's the other people we want to kill. And of course, it's you and it's me and it's everybody else that is prominent. They believe to then finally get right-wingers to lash out violently, or they're going to stage a false flag and then blame us that we were doing this for Charlie. And the last piece was the black colleges all closing because of bomb threats and, people mad that Charlie Kirk was killed, obviously staged. They're getting ready to hit a migrant demonstration. They're getting ready to hit a black college or a black church, something like that. And then it is off the races. I know Trump's done a soft launch for the National Guard. Courts, they
So we, of course, know, and by the way, someone in the chat saying, I can't believe you're falling for it. Well, I'm not falling for it, but who's falling for it? Like, what exactly are they falling for? Like, we want answers in this investigation, but I can tell you what you can see with your own eyes is death threats being made against people online already. Like, that's undeniable. So who was behind it? Was it Israel? Was it the deep state in the United States government behind it? Was it trans cultists behind it? All of it? We don't exactly know yet. And we need the testimony of this individual. We need everything out there in the public. We do, of course, know that most mass shootings in the United States of America over the past decade have been carried out by lunatic transgender individuals. We now know that Tyler Robinson, the alleged shooter, was dating a transgender guy, his roommate. They were lovers, and was likely radicalized in that environment. His trans boyfriend, according to reports this morning, is cooperating with the FBI. He's been showing text messages. In fact, one of the text messages he showed where he admits that that Tyler left the gun in the woods wrapped in a towel and he needs to go back and get it. So he's cooperating with the FBI. So it's no surprise, though, because this trans individual, that the organization called GLAAD, which represents the LGBTQ people, is now smearing Charlie Kirk and directly putting a target on the backs of conservative commentators who call out the trans violence. According to The Federalist this morning, a spokesperson for GLAAD told the gay publication The Advocate that Charlie Kirk spread, quote, lies and vitriol about transgender people, end quote, at his events, which is a blatant lie, is a total falsehood. And if you've ever seen him interacting with a trans individual, it was always with kindness and respect. So this is a total lie, but don't let, facts get in the way of your lies. GLAAD said that conservative speakers like Riley Gaines, Chloe Cole, Pastor Yunsun Yu are other examples of Charlie Kirk's spreading of lies. And by the way, Chloe Cole is pissed about this. You'll recall Chloe Cole is a woman who detransitioned after trying to become a man when she was young. It's her biggest regret. She posted this on X. I want you to read this statement that GLAAD put out so you all understand that this isn't just a fringe group on the left that is justifying the murder of Charlie Kirk. This is a multi-million-dollar institution that accused Charlie of spreading lies and vitriol through Riley Gaines, Pastor Yunsun Yu, and I. Naming the three of us in this statement is putting a target on our backs, and it normalizes the violence that took place in Utah. They do not care if we die because they think we are Nazis. This is the reality of a large amount of the Democratic Party in America. So here's a woman who tried to become a man, speaks openly about what an incredible regret this was in her life, trying to warn other people about it, and she's a Nazi. GLAAD spends its time targeting people who call out the dangerous trans agenda, therefore defending violence. So was this part of some larger trans cult that they were involved with? I guess we'll see as this information comes out. let's be honest, most coffee gives you like a quick hit. It leaves you feeling jittery. It leaves you feeling foggy. And then you're reaching for another cup or two before lunchtime even comes around. But what if your coffee actually did something for your health? Wouldn't that be novel? Well, Rejuvenate Coffee is science-backed coffee with real Arabica beans infused with CAAKG, a compound shown to support cellular energy, metabolism, even healthy aging. It's not a gimmick and it's not trendy. It's built for people who take their health seriously, who want to show up with focus and strength every single day. If you care about how you feel and how you feel 10 years from now, this is your coffee. So go to 1775coffee.com and use the code REDACTED right now to order your Rejuvenate coffee today. Fuel your body, protect your future, Rejuvenate. We've got more news to get to. Let's talk about Gaza, shall we? Israel has ramped up its military operation in Gaza City over the past 24 hours, pounding targets across the city as the IDF says more than 300,000 Palestinians have now fled Gaza City in the past few weeks. Caravans of Palestinians trying to get out. And as they're trying to get out, of course, what happens? They're bombed. Just like at a school over the weekend. Meanwhile, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu signed off on a major new settlement expansion in the West Bank, and he declared flatly, quote, "There will never be a Palestinian state," end quote. So what about the two-state solution that the U.S. is apparently in support of? I guess that's out the window now. Marco Rubio was just there in Israel, kind of kissing his ass. So that two-state solution is gone, ignored. It's always been part of the plan, the Greater Israel Project, as you know. So the demon Benjamin Netanyahu is doing exactly what he's always wanted to do with this land grab. The new settlement expansion plan, long frozen under the international pressure, has now been greenlit. The timing is deliberate, of course. Israel may as well take the hit for both Gaza and the West Bank at once, while the United States is totally distracted with everything that we're dealing with right now. Charlie Kirk's assassination, what other political unrest and violence across the United States now in the wake of all of this? While the United States is completely focused on this country may be descending into civil war over leftist mobs trying to attack conservatives and all of that. They can carry this out. By the way, did you notice this weekend it was totally ramped up? Huge attacks, multiple areas. While we're all distracted, it's all part of the plan. Yeah, of course, you're not.
They're stupid. I saw several videos where they're just intentionally dropping high rises. They're just bombing residential high rises. They're basically every building they blow up, they claim, well, Hamas was using it.
Hamas was
no
there.
Evidence. They just, yep.
Just like they did with the school this weekend. Hamas. It's always Hamas. Can we talk about how you guys fund Hamas, created Hamas? The United States and Israel created and still fund Hamas today through proxies? Can we talk about that? No, we can't talk about that. We can't talk about that. You're an anti-Semite if you bring that up. Really? Well, there's tape of Netanyahu openly talking about creating of Hamas. You can go seek it out for yourself. So that's anti-Semitic? F off. Sick of it. No one cares anymore. No one's falling for your bullshit. So while we're all distracted, this is going on. The expansion, so no two-state solution anymore. The expansion calls for thousands of new housing units and infrastructure in the sensitive E1 corridor. That corridor is strategically critical, of course. By building there, Israel bisects the West Bank and cuts Palestinians off from East Jerusalem. A death blow to any two-state solution. It's not going to happen. Now, we've been saying this for well over a year. I mean, ever since Israel stood down on October 7th and allowed that attack to happen, which has been confirmed, IDF has confirmed that. And we know that from the Egyptian sources. I was in Egypt at the time, and Egyptian officials were reporting that, yes, we in fact told them that this was coming, and they didn't do anything about it. So this was all part of the plan, all along. So this was never in the works that there was going to be a two-state solution. We knew this all along, sadly. According to rights groups, as many as 7,000 Palestinians will be displaced by this new construction. The move also follows Israel's ongoing full military occupation, of course, of Gaza, and they will have permanent control of this area. Make no mistake about it. Reactions, though, are mounting. Palestinian officials say this proves Israel never intended to allow Palestinian sovereignty. Duh. We all knew that. The EU, the UN expected to issue condemnations, but they don't have any teeth. What's going to happen? Nothing. Not to the United States. The United States will full on support this, of course. Secretary of State Rubio spent the weekend there kissing Netanyahu's ass and making his pilgrimage there and throwing his steadfast support behind Israel. He's apparently supporting this bill that's making its way through Congress right now, which would revoke the passports of Americans who openly criticize Israel. Citizens would have their passports and their inability to travel if you criticize Israel. Where the hell do we live? Like, what is going on here? Netanyahu even admitted, though, this weekend that Israel is isolated and the world is turning against them. Imagine that.
מדינות כמו קטר וכמו סין השקיעו ומשקיעים סכומי עתק להשפיע על התקשורת המערבית באג'נדה אנטי-ישראלית, בבוטים, בבינה מלאכותית, בפרסומים. אתה פותח את הטלפון ואתה מופצץ, אתה רואה את זה בראש ובראשונה בטיק-טוק, אין ספק בכלל, זה דבר עם עוצמות הרבה יותר גדולות מהתקשורת המסורתית. היא מטה את התקשורת המסורתית שמצטרפת למיעוטים האסלאמיים שמטים את המדיניות של ממשלות המערב.
Yeah, so people and information's getting out there, particularly on TikTok and social media. Whenever you open up your phone, it's just AI. It's just AI showing you a whole bunch of lies about Israel. They really think that we're stupid, don't they?
Yeah, like it absolves them of the responsibility. It's not people. People aren't upset with Israel. Oh, no. The people love us. It's the bots. It's bots and AI. That's it.
Right. Just bots and AI. You're retarded. We're not stupid. You just open your phone and, oh, my God, what's all this AI doing on here that says Israel's bombing children? I saw the bodies today of 7 little babies. 7 little babies that were killed over the weekend. That's AI. I guess it's AI. TikTok, social media. Sure. Okay. Right. And so people are right to question. George, a friend of the show, George Galloway today did a really great job. He flipped out. I love George. He flipped out. He said, you don't get to tell me, you don't get to call me anti-Semitic when I start to question the laundry list, just in my lifetime, the laundry list of individuals that Israel has targeted and assassinated. For us to question the death of Charlie Kirk as being tied to Israel. You don't get to tell me I'm being anti-Semitic. And George just flipped out, and I loved every second of it. So suddenly Netanyahu's been on this big PR tour. He's doing interviews like crazy. They're putting up like billboards around Israel. Like, we love Charlie Kirk. We're going to devote a park in his name to Charlie Kirk. Really? Really? Okay. Overcompensating much? We loved Charlie Kirk. Sure you did. Yeah. Really? When he turned down like large donations from Israel? Okay. And obviously it's complicated, but you love Charlie Kirk. Sure you did. Sure you did. We'll be watching that. 2-state solution gone.
This episode is brought to you by Rumble Premium, the home of free speech and exclusive content from the videos that matter. With Rumble Premium, you get ad-free viewing, access to exclusive shows, and premium features across the platform. We're talking about Steven Crowder's Mug Club, Tim Pool's Timcast, Russell Brand's Raw Commentary, and of course, Redacted, plus tons of other bold creators that you won't find anywhere else. Whether it's breaking news, real talk, or the content that challenges the narrative, Rumble Premium puts you in the front row. Support creators who actually say what they mean in a place that they can say it and mean what they say. Go to rumble.com/premium/redacted to join today. One more time, that's rumble.com/premium/redacted, because truth should not come with a filter.
Meanwhile, this is a very important story, very important. And I hope you will share this with people around the world, because the EU is preparing a Maidan-style coup in Serbia. Mark my words, This is coming, folks. According to Russian intelligence service, the EU is trying to overthrow the Serbian government in a Ukrainian-style Maidan coup. We've been warning about this for months, hearing from journalists in Serbia who've been telling, they're like, Clayton, something big is coming. I'm telling you, something big is coming in Serbia. Begging us here at Redacted to cover this story, and we have been. And we're trying to shine as much light as possible on this story. All eyes on the Balkans right now. I know we're all concerned with what happened with Charlie Kirk, and rightly so. We just covered what's going on in Israel. But I'm telling you, the Balkans right now is a powder keg, and it is waiting to go off. Yesterday, Serbian President Vučić said governments in the EU are financing protests. They've so far spent over $4 billion. $4 billion inciting violence and unrest inside of Serbia. And frankly, across the Balkans. EU governments and the United States have been financing protests across Serbia, trying to destabilize this government. Watch for something to happen near September 20th or as we approach November 1st. On September 20th, Serbia is celebrating its Armed Forces Day. They're getting tanks and military equipment ready for that massive parade. So Vučić, but also on November 1st, but I'll talk more about that in a second. So Vučić just admitted that billions are being spent to collapse his government and install a Western-backed proxy government. But he admits that he had to remain silent about it prior so as not to violate any neutrality agreements between his country and theirs. Russian intelligence reports say the EU via NGOs are planning to start protests on November 1st as well. And you see what influence, obviously, the sphere of influence, what Western governments want within the Balkans. I mean, Russia would love nothing more to have than ports all along the Adriatic Sea and all through that entire region along the Adriatic and Aegean Sea. The United States would love nothing more to have than a presence, of course, inside and push Kosovo. And, look, we built a freaking military base there, for crying out loud, after Bill Clinton oversaw the bombing campaign for 78 days, which destroyed Belgrade, which you can still see the remnants of. I was there, and I walked down the streets of Belgrade, and you see bombed out buildings where NATO bombed them. So these wounds are very fresh in Serbia. But something is coming, and they're actively, and of course USAID, Samantha Power, and all of them were actively funneling as much money as they could into this area to try to destabilize Serbia. So our hearts go out to the people of Serbia. We love you here at Redacted, and we are going to shine a light on this as much as possible. I think if we can get out in front of this false flag and out in front of this Maidan-style coup, we won't have a repeat of what happened in Ukraine, because I would be absolutely heartbroken if the people of Serbia have to deal with what happened in Ukraine happens in your country. Let's talk about Alan Savory. He was right about the cows. So today is the 90th birthday of Alan Savory, and I just want to take the opportunity to afford him an I told you so. If you don't know who he is, when Natalie and I first learned about Alan, we were blown away by his research. I mean, this is one of those things where when you learn about this guy, your jaw just hits the floor, and you wish more people would share his information and research with the world, because it's so powerful. Do you guys know who he is? Do you guys know who Alan Savory is? Well, let me introduce you to him, and if you don't know, and suggest that you must watch his amazing TED Talk. If we were to play any clips of his TED Talk here, they would copyright strike us. That's what TED does. But anyway, forget about that. You've got to watch his TED Talk. If you don't know who he is, Savory is an ecologist who proved that carefully managed herds of ruminant animals can actually restore soil, regenerate entire grasslands, and reverse desertification. That's a hard word to say. Desertification. Desertification. I'm thinking dessert. I'm thinking like it'll stop you from having dessert. No, it'll stop it from turning into a desert. He gave a TED Talk about it years ago. It was so powerful that climate activists tried to get it canceled because it didn't fit their narrative. They tried to hide it. The talk has nearly 6 million views. Again, we can't show it here. They'll copyright strike us, but it's absolutely worth watching it, and your whole family should sit down and watch it. You guys will all be like, what did we just hear? Holy smokes, why was this being kept from me? Why was it being redacted? If you will. That's what we cover here on this show. So anyway, we'll put a link in it in the newsletter tomorrow. So his data is shocking. Just going to go over some of his data. Why did climate activists hate it? Well, because they hate cows and they want you to eat Impossible Burgers, which is fake, highly processed garbage. It could be one reason. They want to kill cows. Of course, they want to cull entire herds of cows in the name of climate. His work proves how misguided that is. This talk still has a disclaimer on it from TED. Like if you go and watch the TED Talk, TED blog says, but some critics have challenged the hypothesis. For example, one recent report argues that any gains from greening after grazing are more than offset by methane and emitted by the grazing animals. So they're still pushing this total bullshit argument that methane from our livestock is causing global warming. I mean, do they really think we're that retarded? They think we're stupid. And yet, to this day, TED slaps a disclaimer on this talk for claiming that methane from grazing animals would offset the benefits of restoring land. Think about how absurd that is. Leave the earth barren because of methane. So let it turn into a desert because of methane. Okay, here's the reality. Methane from cows is short-lived. It breaks down in about a decade. And unlike fossil CO2 that piles up for centuries, meanwhile, regenerating soils with managed herds pulls massive amounts of carbon out of the air and locks it underground. Without animals, the land turns into a desert and stops absorbing anything. And let's not forget, for millions of years, vast herds of bison, wildebeests roamed the earth, emitting methane while building thriving ecosystems. The problem isn't cows, it's bad management. And Savory pointed out that when you manage them properly, they don't destroy the planet. In fact, they save it. TED doesn't make that distinction at all in their little TED blog post, by the way. This talk is 12 years old. And think of all the land that could have been regenerated if we'd actually listened to him. Fortunately, people are. It's amazing what's happened through Africa with some of his test and pilot programs back in the day. I mean, you were literally looking at like a desert, and they put these ruminant animals on there. You're like, well, where are they going to eat? Like, how are they going to even eat anything? There's nothing here. And it's remarkable that they managed to survive on this like barren land, and suddenly in a short amount of time, there's like green growing up through this desert. I'm sorry, when Natalie told me today, she's like, we got to do this piece on the show. I'm like, yes, because it was such a jaw-dropping bit of research and study that needs to be amplified. The cows have an unbelievable reputation for repair. So if we can amplify this talk, it'd be amazing, right? Just today, the Wall Street Journal reported how milk is back. And so is the Got Milk campaign from the 90s, because people are realizing the fake milk is not only gross, it's horrible for your body, really bad for you. Like people that drink oat milk, it's like the worst. Oats are largely one of the worst things you could possibly eat. And then have milk made out of it? Come on.
Well, and almond milk, like the amount of water waste to make almond milk is astounding. Like look into it sometime like that. Like the amount of water, the gallons of water it takes to make a gallon of almond milk is ridiculous.
Right. I don't even know the amount, but I know you know way more about it than I do. It's crazy. And you think, oh, we're doing this good for the environment. Methane from the cows. Drinking milk is bad for you. Really? According to the Wall Street Journal, the dairy industry in California has faced years of challenges, including a trend toward plant milk. The momentum seems to be shifting, according to the Wall Street Journal. Dairy milk sales in the United States declined by 0.3% by volume over the 52 weeks that ended August 10th, grew 4.6% in dollar terms, according to market research from Circana. Meanwhile, these plant-based milks are losing market share, which the Wall Street Journal attributes to rising prices of products in the category and consumers' desire for clean ingredient labels. Plant milks are anything but clean. They are a science project just filled with seed oils. I kind of like cringe when I hear like a woman walks into like Starbucks or one of these coffee places. She's like, yeah, I'll have an oat milk latte. I'm like, ooh. She doesn't know what she's doing. It's full of seed oils, full of stabilizers, chemicals, with a higher carb load. It's a huge glycemic spike in your body, way higher than dairy milk. U.S. plant milk sales declined 6.1% through August. So people maybe, and just they're so expensive, but also people maybe are waking up about it. It's the same story across vegan products. More broadly, people are becoming educated about vegan products. The hype peaked apparently in 2022, and they have been since declining ever since, like Impossible Burgers and all those highly processed seed oil things that are terrible for your body and the environment. Vegans are like, yeah, we're protecting the environment. Really? Do you know how much farmland had to be destroyed, basically? How many prairie dogs and mice and everything else had to be destroyed to make your little Impossible Burger? You're so good for the environment with your Impossible Burger. The Got Milk campaign revival is starting in California. 12,000 residents there taking milk mustache photos in mobile photo studios across the state. I was never a big fan of it, to be honest with you. Like that, I just don't like, hey, wipe that milk off. I was never a big fan of it, but I guess it worked. So again, cows are not the problem. By the way, here's the Golden Lab. Oh, here's the Golden Lab one. I think we have a video of this. Watch this. Makes me thirsty. So yeah, we get it from a local dairy as well, and they deliver it. And we have the little milk box, out front, and they deliver it right to our house, right from the farm, and it's delicious. And the kids, my son is now, I think he's grown like 5 inches in the past few months. Like he's 15 years old, and every time like people come over, like, did you grow again? He drinks like 3 glasses of milk a day, and we're like, eat your meat. That's why he keeps growing. So again, cows are not the problem, and in many ways they are the answer. Alan Savory tried to warn us, and he got dogpiled, but he was right. Happy 90th birthday to Alan. Save the cows, and happy birthday to Alan.